Not yet. Okay, it's fine.
Okay.
Welcome to Whiskey Vault.
I'm Daniel.
I am Rex.
So this is a gift from Magnificent Bastards, Harold and Allison Tipton.
Harold and Allison Tipton, you magnificent bastards. You and I were about to start talking about the whiskey before we realized the camera wasn't rolling.
Yeah.
But this is a defunct distillery.
Well, I went and tried to look it up. It's called Blackwater Distilling, and their Google. Couldn't find anything, and then a website was down.
Yeah.
So I went to Google Maps. Permanently closed.
Okay, so
well,
did
I mean, look at this though. This is the label. It says weeded bourbon. That's not illegal.
Just handwriting.
Yeah, there's no age statement. This is the most basic and pretty illegal.
They printed this out of a Kinko's.
Yeah.
Did they make it or did they source it?
I don't know. According to what their Facebook posts from 3 years ago, they're talking about like this is super small batch and only released at Tavern.
What if they have a Google alert for somebody to talk about their whiskey? They catch this episode and like, we're back in the game, guys.
We're gonna ride it. We used your video to get investment money.
Oh God, please don't. All right. So it looks like it's a sourced whiskey.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just the color.
There's no age. There's no whether or not they made it. There's no. Well, wait for the smell. You never know. Smells like MGP a little.
It's more of a cherry note than I was expecting. A
Weeded.
bit.
It's the weeded version.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Gotcha. I gotcha there. Now the weeded MGP isn't nearly as prolific. Nearly as widespread as the other MGP.
We don't know that it's sourced though. They might have made it. Who knows?
You know what? If them being
it just says right here, produced and bottled by.
I doubt they'll be defensive. So we'll say whatever we want. You know what? I made this.
If they, if they didn't source it, this is pretty classic wheat forward bourbon.
It's big whiskey flavors or big whiskey notes on the nose.
No real flaws. Not too ethanol-y.
Let me know when you want to mouth it.
I'm never going to. I will be taking a sip now, though.
That's mouthing it. Look at him mouth it. Look at that technique. Just really precise and crisp with your mouthing.
Yeah, that's got to be the weeded MGP. There's a chance we have a weeded MGP over here.
That's a big whiskey flavor profile. For them to be this kind of run and gun with the label, let's call it.
Ha! I do.
It's kind of on crooked. It's all good.
Dude, I have the weeded MGP.
Oh, hell yeah.
From a Texas distillery.
We've put on some crooked labels ourselves.
We have. Mostly anything that I've put on is probably a crooked one. Anytime I'm like, I'll help.
It's like, well, I think we're good, Daniel.
So this is Nine Banded. It's a local distillery-ish. They mostly they're sourcing.
They're very close. I wonder if they did some single barrel stuff to get more cherry on this weeded than the
It is way more dense.
Yeah.
This is proof down too. What is that one at?
This one is it?
No, they're the same.
Dude, this is 43%?
Yeah, this is 45.
This actually has more character at 43%.
It's a similar family though.
You think maybe they blended the MGP with something else?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. I think this was probably like some small run single barrels. That happened to be a little bit more cherry forward than the standard.
And they call it Tavern series. It's just because evidently they had a tavern, and they would release things only at the tavern, but not for retail or things like that.
Well, and then that kind of begs the question, like how big is Nine Banded in terms of their MGP purchases?
Yeah, they're big.
Okay, so this is probably going to be a little bit more on point with what you would expect from the standard MGP weeded.
Right.
This, though, is a little bit more cherry. That's it, but very, very similar around all of that. I got Mono FKP33. Just one question for the king of the whiskey hobbits. He's more of a duke. More of a duke, really.
A duke?
Yeah.
Hello.
How does it feel to be the first hobbit to reach the middle shelf?
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I can do it. I can reach the middle shelf now.
Instead of like Middle Earth, it's middle shelf. I'm
a middle shelf hobbit.
Yeah. We all know the top shelf is unattainable, but Daniel strived for greatness. Yes.
I can reach the top shelf, just not all the whiskeys on the top shelf.
Yeah. There's tippy toes involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Dane Manos. This has bothered me since the first time I've seen the Titan animation, so why are you riding the bottle backwards into the sun?
Yeah, it's not aerodynamic.
Shouldn't you? It's space, though. What are we talking about here, right?
Well, but re-entry, that's probably why we blew up the sun instead of landing safely.
Yeah. We could have just inserted cleanly.
Yeah, nope.
But the impact.
Yeah, it's all about impact.
Shouldn't you ride the bottle with the neck facing forward? Also, can you guys please explain what the cuts are?
There were a couple of people that asked this in recent comments. So I'm just going to remind everybody. Distillation, we're going to talk pot stills, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which is, in a pot still, you heat up a pot of beer, effectively, and you can distill it a couple of times, but the one where you make the cuts is called the spirit run. Mm-hmm. And as you heat things up, it works on the idea that different things have different boiling points. Mm-hmm. So alcohol is 173 Fahrenheit, roughly, which is, I think, 78 Celsius. And water is 212 Fahrenheit, which is 100 Celsius.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Hi.
So as things get hot, things start evaporating, and then you condense it. What comes off first is the bad stuff that you don't want in the heads, methanol and ethyl acetate and things like that. Yeah. It's got heads or 4 shots. It depends on who you ask. And then as the boiling point climbs and more stuff comes, you start keeping it, right? And so there's a middle section, and then you keep it, and as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, more things come off the still, more come off still, and then it starts to get things you don't want.
Well, the stuff you want is called the hearts.
Yeah. So that's that heart's middle section. Then stuff you don't want starts showing up, so you cut for the tails. So that middle section that you cut is called the hearts. It eliminates the early stuff and the late stuff, and that's what goes into a barrel.
Yeah, the stuff that's left over, the heads and the tails, throw them together. You got feints.
And you're editing these days, right?
Me and Alex is doing some today.
We will now cut to a live action shot of a distillery doing cuts.
Oh my God, don't drink it. It's actually nice, but it's not going to do them any good.
It didn't do them any good, evidently. Yeah. Since 2008. That's pretty early on in the craft distilling industry.
They had a bit of a head start compared to most other people that are getting in the day. Good Lord, how many distilleries have popped up since 2008?
I know.
But they had a tavern involved?
Like us, for example. Yeah. 10 years later.
Yeah. I want to see that tavern.
I like the word. What do you like better? Yeah. If someone said we have to choose between these two places, we're going into the town. Yeah. One of them is a pub and one is a tavern.
It's gonna be a tavern.
Why?
It will.
You think a tavern is the American pub?
I do, and also it feels like it's going to be a little bit more leaning into like an era type of motif, like a vibe.
You don't think pubs lean into vibes?
No, I think a pub is more of like a community experience, and it's less of, I say like an era. An era in terms of it's going to have decor that feels like it's old-timey. I think you're going to get that in a tavern.
I think that's true.
In a pub, it's going to be more of just like a hangout, kind of like just a big, living room kind of experience that you have with people. It's going to be, functionally.
I think if I was on the East Coast,
I
think I'd look forward to a tavern because I would be willing to bet it went back a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But a pub on the West Coast. Why specify East Coast?
I don't know. I think of ye old tavern in the East Coast and like the early colonies.
Yeah.
And taverns, right? Whereas the West Coast, taverns and pub, it doesn't matter. It's all new.
Yeah.
And it's all someone trying to take something and turn it into something.
Yeah, and if you keep going...
Maybe in San Francisco. Actually, the oldest ones are all in New Orleans.
But I was having a conversation with some MBs at the tasting room, DAC with Fang and Feather, on Friday. And we were talking about what is going to be, if somebody were going to attack this country, what are the cities that you attack for the maximum amount of damage? What would you say?
New York, D.C., L.A.
No.
Nope. Where?
New Orleans and Houston.
Oh, just for body count?
Nope.
Or why?
For just like infrastructural damage. New Orleans, because yes, it's the Mississippi River, and that is basically the lifeblood of the country. The reason why we economically are pretty bulletproof is because you have so many.
Are you announcing this to everyone?
Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight me, I'm fighting for a friend.
Steal me, you steal your lover's heart.
And if you drink, may you drink with us.
While you
Oh, God.